Attention, attention, attention.
Marie, c'est bon comme ça?
Like to welcome Friends of Uganda.
Oui.
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 We would welcome any questions. That's why we are here.
I'm saying a go.
Yes, yes. So we are welcoming everyone in Friends of Uganda who would like to know what brings us today on this Monday morning in Switzerland, in Geneva. Yeah. With me here, I have a few of my colleagues. So joining me is none other than Marie. Say hi to the...
Hi, my people, Ugandan people. I love you. Hi, Ugandan people. My dearest loving people. We love you and we are fighting for you. This dictator Museveni has to leave our country.
A colleague of ours, a dear friend of ours who is with us today is Jeremy. Jeremy, come and say hi to the international community and Ugandans watching us abroad.
Bonjour, bonjour Genève. Nous sommes ici pour les droits, pour la liberté, pour la libre expression dans nos pays. Nous sommes contre toute forme de discrimination, de torture, d'emprisonnement et puis d'assassinat des hommes politiques, des populations, du massacre dans nos pays. Nous aimerons pour ça le soutien de toute la ville pour la liberté.
Yes.
Whoever understands right, probably a word or two. So you'll bear with my voice, but I would like to walk you through our exhibition as it is. Here you can show some of the pictures of what brings us. Yeah. So what brings us in Switzerland? So take a look at those pictures. These are some of the victims who we'll be talking about in details as we go along our demonstration. List of those which were submitted recently to the government who claimed they didn't have these people in their database. So we have the streets and the Ugandan flags there. And this is a demonstration where Swiss Ugandans showing solidarity to the people back home who are intimidated and don't have a voice to say as to the whereabouts of the people we're going to be talking about. So those are the victims, those are the missing people, those are the 18 abducted Ugandans. I'll dive into that later. Who are these 18 Ugandans? Why are we saying they're abducted? Why are we saying they're missing? Now, I'll give you some a brief background of some context as to who these people are. For those who are following Uganda, a few years ago we had the Uganda General Elections. That was in 2021. Leading up to the elections, there was a lot of hype as to how the elections will be going by. And General Museveni, who has been ruling the country since 1986, was having a strong opposition leader in the names of Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, a musician and politician who's dubbed the generational leader for Uganda. So, unfortunately, leading up to the opposition, due to the strong opposition of the NUP, which Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is leading, a lot of people were picked up leading up to elections. And the 18 people we are here demonstrating or advocating for were picked leading up to the elections. during the elections, and a few of them were picked after the general elections. Now, what is ironic is that most of these people, since the elections, now it's 4 years on, they have been missing. They have not appeared in courts of law. They're nowhere to be seen by their loved ones in the prisons of Uganda. So the big question here, where are these people? So we're here as Ugandans, Swiss, living in Sweden or in Europe, to appeal to you, the Swiss government, our development partners in the EU, to add a voice to the voiceless Ugandans. Because back home in Uganda, you can't talk about the 18 people. There's a lot of intimidations. Even the members of parliaments cannot talk about these people. So we in Europe, we're adding a voice to the voiceless back in Uganda. Why? We know the Swiss government is having a bilateral relationship with Uganda. And with that comes a lot of powers. So we're appealing to the Swiss government to take quick actions. We know in Switzerland we have the permanent mission of Uganda to the United Nations. And for those who know, Switzerland is the home or the mecca of United Nations leading institutions here. So all these United Nations organizations or institutions have values, our core values. And one of the most important core values for what these people or these organizations live by is upholding human rights. Now, if we have a permanent mission of Uganda, which is active and dealing with the Swiss government, it has to be probed. It has to be audited. Are they living and are living up to the values of the United Nations institutions they're collaborating with? That is something we really need to address. And that's something we want or we request our basic development partners here in Europe, especially in Geneva or in Switzerland, where we are today, to pressure to Seven or the general, who is the lead, the leader now in Uganda. So, who are these 18 people? I think we're going to start one by one. And I would like my colleague here, Marie, I would like you to, one by one, start by number one. Who is number one of the 18 people? Marie, who is number one? Can you say something about the number one matrix person? So with us here, number one is John Bosco Chibalama. Yes, John Bosco Chibalama, as they're pointing to him, he's a family guy. He was abducted leading up to the elections. He's a middle-aged guy. He had 3 children when he was picked up. And his families and the loved ones have not cast an eye on him since the general elections took place. So we're still demanding his whereabouts from General Museveni. Marie, who's number two? Here we have John Damolida John. He was in his 50s. He's in the middle getting guy. He left his son there in search with him. He was a mechanic. And it was picked up from his workplace by General Museveni's military officers. And 4 years down the line, we've not, no one has heard about it. It's nowhere to be seen in the jails and prisons of Uganda. So we're still demanding and General Museveni to account for his whereabouts. So who do we have as number 3, Marie? Number 3 on the list of the missing or the abducted Ugandans is Godfrey Kisembo. He was a teacher by profession. He left a son and a wife, and he was abducted on the 12th of February, just 2 days before the general elections. He left 11 children. Let that sink with you. He left 11 children. Yeah. So, yeah, that poses a lot of questions which are really painful. Further is 4 years down the line, one wonders who's attending for the 11 children and how his wife and even these kids are getting by. So who do we have as number 4? Number 4, we have Joseph Baguma. He was 30 years when he was picked up. He was a businessman and he was abducted in December 2021. Up to now, his whereabouts are unknown. And we still have questions. General Museveni has to account, and we would like our development partners to have him audit these people. So Marie, we're still moving on. Who do we have as number 5? Number 5. Who do we have as number 5? So number 5 here. Number 5 is none other than Hassani Mobiru. He was 38 years when he was picked up. And it was picked up on the 20th of November 2021. We are in 2024. Yeah, no one knows his whereabouts. He left 3 kids. So we would like to know his whereabouts as Ugandans and as international or global citizens. Moving on, I think we need to move on, Marie. Who do we have there? We have Kawenjer Babazi. He was going as an alias. He goes by the names of Moses in Babazi. He was 30 years old. He was a businessman, and he was picked up in December. The drone. I think the cameraman can show you what is a drone. It's not one of these fancy drones you fly in the air. It's a vehicle, a 4-wheel drive, which General Museveni's security personnel found in forcefully, harshly into the vans, and they disappear to unknown places, or call them ungazetted places. So who knows where these people are? So you've seen the drone, you've seen General Museveni and his son, Muhoozi Kainerugaba. Those are the masterminds of these abductions. Let's go forward. Who are we having as number 7? Number 7 is Peter Chiriam. He was 32 years. He was a plumber. He was abducted on the 11th, on the 1st of December 2020. That was prior 2 years. Um, it says that it was picked up while returning from work. The personnel in our the vehicle I mentioned about there. So we would like to proceed to number 8. Number 8 is you that same picture. That's the photo you could see we could receive of him. He was 44 years, 19th of December 2021. This again is prior to the elections and in 2024. So he's still missing. He left 5 kids. Who knows who's spending for these kids in his absence? Marie, we would like to know who is the number 9 victim of this aggressive and gruesome abductions going on in Uganda. So Marie showing us a gentleman with his little son there. The gentleman's name is Vincent Nalumonso. He was 31 years, was a businessman, and was also picked up prior to the general elections in 2021. On the 1st of December in 2020, he left, or he has 3 kids. Yeah. There again, no one knows who fends for his family, and the son who you saw there in the picture. Number 10, we have a gentleman there, Cesar Isma. He was abducted on the 19th of November 2020. He was abducted in Machinde, a suburb in the city center of Kampala. He's still missing, as it says there. He was a businessman, and yeah, he's still missing. Let's go forward. Now here inside we have a young man with his real little boy. His name is Martin Lukwanigo. He was 35 years of age. He was a businessman, and he was picked up on the 23rd of November 2020. He left behind 2 kids. Moving on, we have number 12 was Moses Mbowa. He was 36 years when he was picked up. He was a businessman, and he was picked up on the 18th of December 2020. Still, his whereabouts are unknown. Yes, as you can see there, we are advocating for where these people are, and General Museveni and his son Muhoozi need to come forward and tell the world as to where they are keeping these 18 Ugandans. Yeah, and moving on, we're going to go to number 15. As you can say, people are advocating for Museveni to bring back our people. We here in Switzerland, we're also advocating to have these countrymen were abducted. Unfortunately, the next gentleman is Simula Dennis. So he was 30 years of age. He was a businessman. He was abducted on the 26th of December 2021. No one has knows his whereabouts as of now. He left 2 kids. Yeah. Now, moving on, we have Michael Semodu. Michael Semodu. Michael Semodu. Michael Semodu. Yes, that is Michael Semodu. Yeah. Michael Semodu was 50 years. Was a businessman. He was picked up in 2020 on the 28th of November. What are it that he was a very strong contender to some municipality pave way for a smooth landing to whoever was contesting with. Very sad, and it people back home. Uh, we've got kids, and we still don't know his whereabouts. Now, finally, the number 18 missing or abducted victim of General Museveni's work. His name is Mustafa Luwemba, was 30 years of old. 30 years old. He was a businessman, and he was abducted also prior to the 2021 general elections. He left one kid, and yeah, and there in the photo. So there you go. Those are the people privileges of Europe, whether it's Italy, whether it's Morocco, whether it's the Netherlands, whether it's here in the or there's a lot of I think when I go back, 1990, uh, our good relationships with Switzerland. We have to the United Nations. Evidence, economic, security, development of human rights. So, if we have to go by what took place in the 2021 election, and then on count, I think the right to be done was shown in to protect them and their property. Now we are having a problem and a crisis whereby we have people missing on account of them being so what should we do? And what would we ask of you? We've had a few discussions with other countries dealing with Uganda. One big example is the United States. And when we've been thinking how we've been engaging them is to see that they put pressure to General Museveni. We've had some success with the US, who was put measures to or pressure to Museveni in terms of strict visa sanctions. Most of the big politicians, military generals have been sanctioned not to move to the states. The AGOA trade agreement, which has been ongoing for a number of years, has been cancelled on account of abuse of human rights by the government of Uganda. And we'd also would like to we know you have financial direct investments in Uganda. We would rather that you have a strict preconditions as to before you dispense of your engagement with General Museveni. You have to use human rights as a leverage for your direct investment in Uganda. I think that would help us well. With your further direct investment in Uganda, support of General Museveni, you not only legitimize state dictatorship, but also you further encourage the continued disappearance and the persecution of Ugandans. So once again, we want to use your support to our country or human rights as a leverage to support our country. That would be a good thing. This is yet to happen in the EU. As I said, the US is employing it and it's doing. It's a good sign, and then we can see things happening. I think one vivid example is when the government of Uganda was making a plea to the U.S. government to look over the cancellation of the Gore trade agreement. So yes, sanctions, freezing of some of the funds, or and other development engagements with Uganda will go a long way to help us to fight for the freedom of the Ugandans who are under military rule. So, Marie, would you have a word to our listeners before we go further?
Thank you, comrade, our team leader in Europe, Mr. Chitunzi. I have a word, but I prefer to speak in Uganda. Since because of our poor governments in Africa, we have no chances to learn English. We only learn English in school. So I never have chance. My parents were so poor. First they were rich, but the corrupt governments took everything away from them. And so they could not afford to sponsor our schools. So I've been learning English from the school. Hello. First of all, I'm just so sad. My heart is so bleeding. These children, these people missing, they are people's children. These people missing, their fathers. These people missing, their husbands, their brothers. So, Mr. Seven, I have a question for you. How will you feel if Natasha got missing and you don't know anything where she will be? But will you sit or sleep in your bed comfortable without knowing where your Natasha is? Mr. Muhoz, you want to become a next Uganda president. If you want to be really a Uganda president, how do you think will people take you? While you know that these people are missing, you are so busy fighting to become a president. Who are you going to present while the people you are supposed to present they are breeding? They can't find their own ones, their loved ones. Who is going to be happy with you? Do you sit and think before you decide, oh, you want to become a Ugandan president? These mothers, these fathers, these children, They are crying. Comment? So normally kanjogera mu Luganda nga bwe mbagamba sasoma. Mr. President nkubuuzizza ziramu okubuuza. Onoomuliro otya ng'abaana bo bababuzizzaawo? Abamu bali mu kkomera tebayingirangako bw'amagye kyokka basibidde mu kkomera eri abannamagye. Abaana kati nga Olivia Lutaaya omwana omuto omulesezzaawo obwana bwe singa mwana wo onoowulira otya? Abaana b'owabuzaawo be tumanyi nti abamu wabatta. Okimanyi bulungi nti ne Prime Minister wo Nabanja yavaayo n'akonfesinga n'ayogera nti amanyi Kibalama waali. Kibalama ali ludda wa? Nabanja omusaayi gwa Kibalama guli mu ngalo zo. Omanyi we wateeka Kibalama? Omanyi we wateeka Kibalama? Nabanja Parliament nga buli omu awulira n'ogamba nti omanyi Kibalama gy'ali. Kibalama eri ludda wa? Tunuulira abaana be. Oli mukazi, oli muzadde. Abaana abo singa bazzukulu bo banga baana bo wandiwulidde otya? Okubakuza nga tomanyi kitaawe gy'ali. Faayo tuwabuze abantu baffe. Ekirala Museveni ta abaana baffe. Njagala nkutegeeze oludde ng'onjigganya ng'olowooza ojja kunsobola. Watuma ba agent wo ne bakutubulokinga okudemonstratinga ku Uganda Embassy. Njagala nkubuulire ebyo biweddewo. Olwaleero tuli supposed okubeera ku Uganda Embassy naye tutuuse leeti. N'olwekyo njagala nkubuulire eyo Uganda Embassy eyo bandi gye wateekako egenda kuvaawo. Ebyo by'olowooza buno ojja kubulokinga Embassy eyo tuleme kudemonstratingirako olw'aba neighbours. Kimanye nti abantu ba Uganda be basasula abakozi b'omu Embassy omwo. Be basasula ennyumba eyo eya Embassy. N'olwekyo eyo responsibility yo. Either leeta eddembe mu Uganda ta abantu baffe oba si ekyo nze nafayirinze dda ekeesi. Nagifayirinze oyina tulina okubeera free. Tujja kubeerawo era tuwogane baneiba baveeyo. Eyo responsibility yo. Ffe awe waffe eyo tulina okubanjiza abaana baffe. Ta abaana baffe Museveni. Ta abaana baffe. Nze gw'olowooza nti n'ogenda kukola oba bitya. Minisita njagala nkutegeeze. Wagezaako nnyo okukwata omuleeti waffe Kikyalumbuye yakulema. Kati osuubidde nti Mali bw'ogenda okukwata ojja wano ontwale waggwe. Gazzi ajja kuvuma. Kubanga njagala nkubuulire nina eddembe lyange okubeera mu nsi yonna gye njagala. Nina eddembe lyange okubanja abantu baffe. Lekerawo okutta abantu baffe Mr. Museveni. Lekerawo okutta abantu baffe. Abantu baffe bonna babonaabona obasiza obwaavu buli kimu bonna bonna abantu babyogere babimazeeyo. Twagala bantu baffe. Ky'abantu baffe abali mu makomera bajje mu makomera g'abamagye. Leeta abantu baffe 18 be wabuzaawo tubeetaaga. Lekerawo okukidnappinga, lekerawo okwabusetinga abantu baffe. Tebalina musango. Lekerawo Museveni, lekerawo. Nze sisobola kulola emundu wansi ng'abantu baffe bakyali mu sitayiri eyo ekyo weebibye. Ngenda kulwanyisa nze nja kubuulira nze ne bwe naasigala omu nja kulwanyisa ppaka. Nja kulwanyisa wano mu Switzerland tulina poliisi. Poliisi ya Swiss protectinga gy'oli naye omusajja n'okwata ng'abantu nga balinga bakubye bakubye eki bakutiddaani buli kamu lekamu aka Uganda okamazeewo okabbi okamazeewo twagala bantu baffe Museveni twagala bantu baffe tunuulira abaana bano abalugedde mu kkomera ebbanga lino lyonna twagala bantu baffe tunuulira omwana Olivia tunuulira omwana omuto oyo bw'okiba ng'alina emyaka 2 gyokka n'omuleeterawo obwana bwe tunuulira omusajja tunuulira akaana akanyibadde kayita dadi katunuulire olowooza kawulire muli katya gonna kaja ggwe wagamba olina ki olina abantu baffe olina kibalama omusaayi gwe
dedicated foot soldier, if I have to use that word in the Ugandan context. I'll try to probably reiterate some of the things we mentioned in our local language, Uganda. I think one of the key things she mentioned is an instance where she calls upon the Prime Minister, who at one point came up admitting that they had Johnny Bosco Chibalama in custody. And since he came out to say that they had him and they had arrested him, nothing has come out of that statement she mentioned. So she, like all of us, are demanding that Nabaja walk the talk. You mentioned that you had John Bosco Tsibalama. We've not seen him in the courts of law. So, yeah, walk the talk. The other things which you mentioned is to do with the incarcerations of these of the main opposition leaders of Museveni, the NUP supporters. They're abducted with no case and they're tried and in military courts of law on fictitious allegations. If you look at me, I have a beret on me. This is one there could be a reason of General Museveni's military people to pick you out. They call this beret military attire, but it's funny now. Most of our leaders, especially the politicians, including our president, Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, they don these red berets every day. Unfortunately or fortunately for them, they're not picked up. But for the normal citizens, if you happen to be in the wrong place, probably in the wrong time, you're easily picked up as a person who's really against Museveni's rule, and they can implicate you in the best way they can, plant a military position on yourself, you name it. It's a lot of things that happen there. So that's one of the things she mentioned in her deliberations. Now, then she mentioned a few things to do with the lists. A lot of people have been booked in the prisons. It's gone a few years. Until recently, came out saying that they have appointed a gender minister who is supposed to make miracles. So one wonders how in the hell a gender minister can come in 4 years down the line uh, uh, with the knowledge of the judicial system as it works, saying that he can make a plea to number 7 to have these people being freed. So I think what we are seeing here is the abuse of the judicial system. These people were picked 40 years down the line. They have not been charged with any case, and yet someone is being brought forward 4 years down the line, requesting for list, which they definitely should have in their custody. But as the party lives on very non-confrontational um, um, ways, they have proceeded to, I think, by resubmitting the list to not only the parliament, but to everyone who wants to see that list. Yeah, that's pretty much General 7 for you. Is making a mockery to not only the judicial system, but to the mind. He is not aware of the people they have in their military codes, yet they're being civilians. So it's very unfortunate, but that's the scenario we are facing or we find ourselves in. But time will tell. But again, as Ugandans, we are powerless. There's no cost of law. You can get justice. That's why we beckon assistance to our government
Il m'a mis une petite caméra comme ça. Attends, laisse-moi un peu. Laisse-moi le filmer un peu.
where you find out from online Twitter campaigns trying to
Mais si tu peux faire ça, tu mets en direct aussi.
the injustices, the prostitution of citizens in Uganda.
Le bateau, c'est fini.
So,
No,
yeah,
no.
so where we go from here? I guess we're gonna let the regulations, both local, probably not local, the international criminal code, see if it play its part. We have most of these cases in the ICC. Where what's surprising, even with the pending cases and charges with leveled against General Museveni, there continues to be abductions even as we speak, which is despicable. And one would think that someone will be pretty much smart enough not to engage in that barbaric practice. But that's General Museveni, who's been with the head of state for the last 40 plus years since he took power by the power of the gun. So our only job is to see that we we keep being resilient, and probably at some point justice will be served. So yeah, it's been a very nice weather in 6 months. I came here, I was thinking it's going to be as cold as in Sweden, but I was greeted with a very warm weather. So weather aside, it's business as usual. We're still advocating for the whereabouts of our brothers and sisters, especially the sisters who are in prison. So probably one main key figure behind all this disappearance and the imprisonment is a lady called Olivia Lutaya. I think my colleague mentioned her. She was picked up immediately after the elections. She had just given birth to uh, um, to a little daughter immediately after the elections, and then she was picked up. She's an icon. What is pretty disturbing is that how do you abduct a newly a new mother of 2 months? So you can speculate or think of how a little daughter she left when she was picked up has gone through 3, 4 years down the line when they picked her up when she's barely even 3 months. So that's that's General Museveni for you. He doesn't care about any human rights whatsoever. So yeah, so she's been in jail until now, and then we still I know other prisoners besides the 18 missing ones. We still are advocating for them to get fair justice. Fair justice meaning that they have to be brought in courts of law and be judged. Uh, Instead of them coercing or pressuring them to come to their knees to beg Museveni. Museveni is not the judicial system. Museveni is just the head of state. We have the judicial system, and he has to let the judicial system to work. Yeah, he's not above the law. So that's pretty much why we are here, and that's we're happy to be here. We always come here 1 month, once in a month, depending on our schedule in our business and private lives. So I've been very delighted to be joining my colleagues here in Switzerland, Marie, Jeremy, and Ipolite, who's been on camera. We really appreciate your solidarity you've shown to us today, and we hope to stay friends, and we hope to maintain that brotherly attitude to each other. So, any last words, or Jeremy, would you like to say something about the injustices in Uganda, whether it's in French or, I mean, because this is not only for the Ugandans, but for the EU. Yeah.
Malheureusement, je vais parler en français et je vais signaler au peuple ougandais qu'il est très important qu'il se mobilise, car la liberté, elle appartient au peuple, elle appartient aux populations. Il est temps de descendre, de revendiquer ses droits, de se faire valoir et d'accepter de refuser toutes les inégalités, toute la torture, tous les emprisonnements abusifs. Il est temps que ça s'arrête parce que le monde, les populations, même les plus dépravées, ont droit à la liberté, ont droit de s'épanouir, ont droit au minimum d'éducation, l'eau, les produits de première nécessité. Nous en avons besoin. Il est temps de ne plus laisser les politiques faire ce qu'ils veulent, car ça ne leur appartient pas, ça appartient aux populations. Sans les populations, elles ne sont rien, toutes ces politiques. Alors il est temps que nous, populations, nous, citoyens, que nous revendiquons nos droits, que nous descendons même dans la rue, même au péril de nos vies. Merci.
Merci, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jeremy, for your kind words and your support for today. I think we're given a few times. I mean, I don't know how much time we have.
We still have 20 minutes.
Yeah, we still have 20 minutes. Okay. What do we use the 20 minutes? That's a good question.
The 20 minutes, if I have to use the 20 minutes, I'll be very bitter. So since our team leader is more gentle, please continue talking. Because for me, I'm so upset with these people. I'll just insult them. Because you don't need any respect. You are too bad. You are too wicked.
Yeah, those are the words from my general. But I think we need to be a little bit civil, especially when we're dealing with some international development partners. Yes, as you can hear, a lot of people are bitter, but we'll try to be a little bit civil and in dealing with General Museveni, however harsh and cunning he is. But again, for people out there, especially those in Uganda, don't give up if you can. Support some of these families who are affected by the demise of the impunity of General Museveni. Support them. For those who can speak, yeah, make your voices heard, either on Twitter, on online, or during some of these demonstrations we have. Unfortunately for us, today, Monday, is a very busy day. A lot of people are working. A few people can't commit to be out of here. But again, this is not a Ugandan call. This is a call to the international community. We can't allow in this day and age there to be violations of human rights. The declarations of human rights, in which most of the countries in countries are signatory to. So if the declarations, Uganda, I hope and I believe they are signatory, they need to live by the code of conduct of the declarations. Same to do with the government. As a most nations and most of these UN institution or UN organization, it should be probably the sphere or sphere and make some kind of directions. Let's say maybe try to police some of these organizations which are in breach of these human rights. But again, we have the international community, international criminal court, which is handling the case, and hopefully, by the grace of God, at some point we will, or the people who are being subjected to torture will receive justice in the near future. It's been a pleasure to be with you today on this session. And it's been a pleasure to have been listening to us. And I hope to speak to you and get back to you in the near future. Thanks. Bye-bye.
People
We have extended.
power. Hello, hello. People power, our power. Our power, people power. Seven liberate Uganda. Vous êtes criminal, Seven. Vous êtes sanguinant. Libérez notre pays. Libérez notre pays. Sanguinant criminal.
Finish.
In Africa,